Congratulations, you are halfway through this course as we begin week 5. If you haven't already, you will want to order the textbook for your next course or courses soon so that they are in your hands when the next course begins. All right, week 5. Week 5 discusses orthography. Orthography is correct writing or spelling. It is the arrangement of graphemes into patterns in a language. Orthographic knowledge is spelling patterns such as consonant, vowel, consonant, as in cat. This week, we begin to explore the consonant and vowels of English orthography. The goal in phonics, vocabulary, and spelling instruction is to help students expand the categories by making connections among words and drawing out important principles that they know in a deep way. For example, if I know the name Bill, it helps me know bat, book, and ball, as they all begin with B. Or, if I know the word ball, it helps me know tall, call, and mall, as the rhyme in all those words is the same. So this week, let's expand our connections as we read and discover new categories of consonants and vowels that are important tools for learning to read and write. Chapter 3, which is Early Word Identification in Preschool and Early Kindergarten, describes 4 word identification strategies that children use as they begin their journey toward becoming literate. The earliest word identification strategies develop before children go to school and long before they actually learn to read. Before children read words, they often are able to read environmental print. For example, seeing the golden arches, they know it's McDonald's. Children often infer meaning from illustrations. An example of this would be they are reading by saying words that describe the actions of the pictures. As children notice words, they may look for cues in a word's shape or length. For example, often a child can read the word elephant, but not the word is. When children first pay attention to letters and sounds in words, they often associate a letter sound or a letter name with a whole written word. Chapter 3 provides best practices for teaching partial alphabetic word learners beginning on page 84. Chapter 4, Analogy-Based Phonics in Late Kindergarten and First Grade. This chapter discusses using parts in known words to read and spell new words. A couple key ideas in this chapter are syllables have a 2-part structure consisting of an onset, which is the consonant that comes before the vowel, and a rhyme, which is the vowel and all the letters thereafter. Words that share a common rhyme form word families. Children who know how to read a rhyme in a known word have a clue to the identification of any word that is spelled with that rhyme. Page 107 lists best practices for teaching analogy-based phonics with word family words. Classroom activities are also included in this chapter. Chapter 5, Letter Sound Phonics in Late Kindergarten, First and Second Grade, explains the letter-sound relationship of phonics and how children strategically use letter-sound associations to read new words. How children use letter sound phonics to read new words is discussed on pages 150 through 152 of our text. Now, I want to look at Forum 1, which is your only forum this week, which is learning and teaching about consonant vowels. If you don't already have a Pinterest account, you're going to need to create one. You're going to create a Pinterest account for a phonics board. You will include the following items on your board, demonstrating deep understanding of each category for which you have chosen to learn more about teaching consonant and vowels. Now, I would keep in mind the student that you're working with. Go back to that spelling inventory and go through your notes that you have taken through your tutor sessions and see which one of these topics would best fit what your student is learning in your tutor sessions. Because remember, we're creating a lesson plan in week 7, and you're writing that analysis paper for week 8. Those all tie to the assessments that we have given and you have analyzed in this course. I want this to be useful for you. So look at these categories and see if the student you're working with needs support in any of these, and that would be the one I would choose. Okay, so you've chosen your topic. You're going to state the category, the topic, with a clear explanation in simple terms. If you do onset, you're going to write that onset has to do with words that have syllables. The onset is the consonant that comes before the vowel. So you're going to tell me what that category is so that I know you understand it. That category on your board should have no fewer than 20 pins and satisfy each of the criteria that I'm going to talk about next. You need to include at least 5 activities or games that you can use when teaching and then put in an independent learning center. These 5 activities or games should be complete with directions and illustrations. You also need to include titles, a brief description, and rationale for using 3 picture books that could be used with this category. Please don't just write down the titles of the books. You also need a brief description and your rationale for using them. You need to include a word sort, and you also need to include additional resources for your category. You might want to look at each other's boards to get ideas for the student that you're tutoring also. This says that no categories should be duplicated. However, what I have found is sometimes these are duplicated, and that's okay because that fits your student's need. By Thursday, you should submit a link to your completed Pinterest board so that you can explore each other's boards and receive feedback. This is for your benefit. Each of you should explore the other Pinterest boards and respond substantially to 2 of your peers in this forum. You may choose to follow each other to gain valuable resources. And as I've said, these boards may also give you activities to be used with your student during your tutor sessions. If you have any questions about this, please ask before you submit it. I don't want you to do it incorrectly. Okay, now I've touched on the lesson plan for week 7. You're going to write an effective phonics or word study lesson. You'll be using the assessments you have given to determine a principle that is appropriate and useful for the student you are teaching. You're going to state that principle in simple, clear terms. In other words, what are you working on with your student? Are you working on building words with intact letter patterns, which is vowel partners, vowel teams? Are you looking at beginning sounds in words? So you're going to state that. Then you're going to design a lesson appropriate for your student that you're working with. Yes, I want you to include sources. You're going to use the MVNU lesson plan, and this lesson is going to be submitted with your analysis paper on Moodle and Chalk and Wire. Here is the lesson plan form, which is on Moodle that you're going to be using. You've got your essential understanding, which is your principle, what you're going to do, your measurable learning outcome, measurable. You're going to go to the standards to choose a standard that's appropriate for this lesson. What academic language will you be using? How will your students use that academic language? The context for learning, you are going to need to complete. So you're going to think about how would you adapt this lesson for an English language learner or for a group of students who are underachieving, a group of higher achievers who need more challenge, and for students with IEPs. You're going to need to complete all of the assessment areas. Pre-assessment, which could be the assessment that you've already given. A formative assessment, what you're doing as you're teaching. How do you know they're understanding? Your summative assessment, how do you know they grasp that topic? And how will you assess the academic language and language demand? Here is the delivery of your instruction. And please be sure that you fill out references and research and college and career readiness. If you have any questions about this, please ask. Thank you.